Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend.
Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Girlfriends of a Certain Age. I'm your host, Jessica,
I'm your other host, Flesché.
and today we are doing a deep dive into Fleché's recent trip to Paris, y'all. And we're especially going to talk about how it feels different to travel in midlife. What is the vibe? What is making us feel glamorous and adult like, and just how it feels different now. So I can't wait to get into it with our girl, Flesché. Yeah, let's dive in. I want to ask you, girl, when going to this trip to Paris, which you and I were so excited about even before you left. When did it hit you that this trip felt different than prior trips? What was the kind of aha moment about, ooh, I'm in midlife and this feels different because of that?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I would say it felt different before I even left because I planned for this trip differently than I've planned for other trips before. And I don't know it's because I was going back to my beloved Paris again or what, because I've traveled with my family, with my kids, plenty, and it didn't hit the way this one did. This one felt a little bit special. And I think part of it was the lead up to it. And of course, I mean, Paris is such a magical place. It's almost this mythical place.
Mm.
We can watch shows like Emily in Paris or those wonderful scenes at the end of Sex and the City or whatever, Amelie, whatever your romanticized version of Paris is. We all have something in there. And so I think there was the myth, and then there was like, what did I want to experience? And somehow, some kind of way, I was able to get settled and get real clear with myself. Well, but what do I want? What do I want this trip to be? And maybe also because this trip was a little bit different. Also, there were 11 of us going to Paris and a few of us then going to Italy afterward. So
Wow.
I traveled with my family.
Wow.
My dad, like, kind of, Pat was his brainchild, and so my siblings were there. I was the only one with kids. And so it could have also been that, like, there were a bunch of people, and a group that big can go off the rails real quick.
Yeah, I
And I
mean,
won't bury the
I
lead.
feel like girlfriends hearing right now are like, "Oh, wait, that's a whole different kind of Paris trip than I envisioned," right?
Exactly, exactly. And I won't bury the lead. It was amazing. I mean, I have a very
Mm.
harmonious family. So I'm very blessed. My siblings, they all have their feet on the ground and like their hearts in the right place. And so while there were annoyances and little hiccups here and there it was actually nothing bad happened. It was all beautiful. So I just got to say that up front. So because there were so many people, and there were two people going on the trip, two partners who I don't know that well,
Mm.
I just realized, what do I want out of this trip? I knew that there'd be dinners with everybody every night if I wanted. What did I want my days to look like and feel like? And so I just got real clear on that. And I
What was your
wanted
wish? What was your kind of like manifestation like thing that you were calling in?
I want to feel like I live in Paris for 6 days. That
Mm.
was what I wanted. The last time I was there with my mom and my sister who was newly pregnant and she
Mm.
wasn't feeling that good.
Oh
So
dear.
while I did see a lot of big museums and I did see a lot of the big sites, it was just different.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel like I lived there. I didn't necessarily want to be Emily in Paris because I feel
Mhm.
like she's a bad representation of an American living in France. But I wanted to feel like, what is it like to wake up? Because we had an apartment, which was really wonderful. So we stayed in the first,
Love it.
and I was just so close to all the things I wanted to be close to.
Mm.
And I wanted to walk outside my door. I wanted to like go have breakfast out like the Parisians do, grab my café crème and my croissant, and then go do my things. I wanted to go out. I wanted to speak French. I mean, I speak French very little, but I was sort of practicing. And girl, every place I went, everybody spoke English to me.
Okay, this is a news flash. This is a news flash because I got to go there eons ago and I just will never forget going into a cafe, trying to order a simple coffee, and that Parisian just turned her back to me and walked in the back of her cafe.
She was like, not today, Satan, not
Not
today.
today, young American, overly eager young American. So that is really helpful information. Like, okay, wait, they do speak English. They tolerate speaking English with us. This is amazing.
So it was amazing, but I also had done my homework. I probably watched, I don't know, 15 to 20 YouTube videos about traveling to Paris. I only listened to people who looked to be about my age or older. That was the other thing. I wasn't looking at like 22-year-old TikTokers, like, and what they were saying. No, no, no. I wanted middle-aged and above people to keep
Smart.
it real. And one channel I found people they're Americans who live there now. And I think the husband might be French. And so they're talking about the do's and the don'ts. And so I hung on their every word and it was so helpful. And so I learned why are Americans perceived so incredibly rude in France? Well, it's a couple of things. We don't have good manners. We don't have good French manners, right? We walk into a store, we're not used to people even acknowledging our presence, let alone greeting us. But we are expected to walk into a store, find the shopkeep or whoever works there, make good eye contact, and say bonjour. Everyone is expected to come in and have some manners. And that is not something we're accustomed to. And so I watched a couple of videos about like the biggest mistakes that Americans make when they travel. And that was like the number one. So, and to not even attempt to greet them in their own language, that was like the biggest thing. And everywhere I went, I taught my kids, we walk in, even if I'm saying it, you need to say it too, children. And so we would walk in, we would greet whoever it was, whether it was a restaurant or a store. And it was like unlocked something. Everybody was so warm, friendly, kind. Because I came in like, okay, I remember what it's like. People were hella rude to me last time. Well, I also had bad manners, it turned out. So
Mhm.
I practiced that. And the doors to Paris were open to me this time
Wow.
in a way that they weren't. I also brushed up on my French and even just some phrases. My husband and I downloaded Google Translate onto our phones, fully expecting to need it.
Yeah.
We didn't. Even if I would practice for 20 minutes, we'd be walking from here to there. Okay, I'm going to ask for this and I'm going to ask for that in French. And then what does it sound like to get the answer back? And then I would ask and they would just hear my accent and be like, oh, so you'd like two croissants and and I was like, oui, merci. And then they would just keep talking to me in English, but I kept trying.
I almost wonder if you want to learn a phrase like, I am trying to practice my French. May I practice my French, you know?
If I were stronger in French, I probably would. But
Right.
it
But in
was
this case, were you
interesting.
like, merci, thank you?
Yeah, I was just trying my best. But I came back with a newfound interest in learning French. And my
Um,
kid's going into high school next year. And I was like, do you want to take French? You and I
oh,
could like take French at the community college together. And he's
yeah.
like, I'll think about it. But I realized maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but maybe I just do
Maybe
it.
you just do it.
I'll just
Yes.
go take it, pass, no pass. I want to learn French.
Yes.
Again, I took it in high school and college, and it was coming back after like day 5 or 6. It was like coming back. I
Oh,
want to go deeper on it now.
oh, I love that. I think you should.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Yeah. And I love the idea of just going to a really wonderful community college place so that you can get immersed. You can do it on apps and, online if that's what you need to do, but there is something really special about being in community with people. And that's a really smart way to also, I don't know about you, but kind of make yourself accountable to learn it. Because I'll get
Yeah.
inspired and start an app, and then, oh, somehow I just forget about it.
Yeah. The apps were actually driving me crazy. So I didn't want that. I can't do it. I
Right. You're like,
can't.
bring the people, bring the people. I love
I
that.
need people.
Oh, I just love that. And how did your kiddos feel about Paris? That was their first time being there, and I know you have traveled with them, and they're wonderfully versed in different cultures. But what struck them about Paris and Parisian culture?
They I think it was very mixed. I think they were
Mm,
so game for the big adventure and Like, what are we going to see? What are we going to do? Mom's hammering these new manners into us. And oh dear, okay. um, for one kid who is my more easygoing child, just smooth sailing. He was so cute. He had his little beret on. He's an artist.
I
He had
love
his little
that.
beret on, a pencil in his ear, and a notepad.
Oh my
And he
God.
was just taking it all in, just looking around.
Oh my
My
God.
other
That is the
kid,
cutest image. Oh my God. I love that.
who treats the world like a parkour course, had a little more trouble because mommy didn't want him climbing on the 300-year-old fountain or think it was okay for him to jump off a beautiful, look like a 200-year-old bench in a park. I was like, y'all, look around.
Yeah.
No one is behaving that way.
Right.
And you don't need to be the American a teenager of color jumping on everything. I'm like, don't be doing that. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to you. The world will open up to you more if you learn how to behave, look around and see how other people are behaving and match
Mm.
that. And so that was a little
Ooh.
more tricky where I am more tolerant. Okay, fine. You want to see if you can jump off that thing here? Fine, go ahead and do it. But we
Right.
don't do that in other countries. And partly we don't know the laws, right? I
Yes.
know the laws
Right.
here. I don't know the laws there. So I think it was mixed. But in the end, I think they both came away with like, okay, that was an education. It is different to go to different places. The toilet paper is different. The
Yeah.
air is different. The expectations are different. The way meals are handled.
Yeah.
And I think also in France, and I learned this too before I went, kids are not tolerated in the same way. And
Ah,
so people just don't take their children to a nice restaurant if they can't sit and be quiet. There's a
okay.
new law. If you get like a business class or above train ticket,
Yeah.
children oftentimes are not even allowed to ride. They're like
Oh,
treated like second class citizens
oh, interesting.
because people expect quiet.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So my
Yes.
kids just had to learn how to like talk at a different volume. We
Mm-hmm.
all did. We all had
Yeah.
to practice it.
But you know what? I love that you had that awareness and like recognize that that was something you wanted to do and instill that in your children. Because, right around the world, Americans are oftentimes known as clueless and entitled and rude. And how wonderful to like educate our younger people about, hey, check the tone, right? Look around you and vibe off of that. And what a gift that they can use in all kinds of situations in their life, because tone matching is so important, and it's respectful, I think, too, as you're pointing out. In some ways, oftentimes it's like it's safety, right? Not standing out in a way that could make you stand out in some way, obviously, if you have control over that. Like, those are really, really wonderful life skills that you instilled in your kiddos. So well done. And the image of the beret with the pencil, I need to see this. That sounds just like so, so cute.
I actually
Um,
do have a picture. I'll send it to you.
oh my gosh, I would love it. Speaking of photos, I got some gorgeous fashion photos of you, my friend, because I know that one of the ways you were also preparing for this trip was your fashion, and in a way that could make you feel good and comfortable and elegant in Paris. And when you were talking about that, I would sometimes get anxious for you because it's like considered one of the fashion capitals of the world. It's like, how does one dress for a place like this? And I know you really put in some care and time to do that. So how did it wind up turning out for you? You looked incredible in those photos, but like, what was that experience like, and what was the reality versus what you kind of thought it might be like?
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying that. You were a big part of my journey for that. You and I even went shopping together, and it was just like so wonderful. Um, I think overall, I overdid it. I think I spent a little too much time thinking and planning and preparing for it. But that doesn't mean that I wish I hadn't done it because I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I looked at like what are people wearing now in France and in
Mhm.
Italy? What are they wearing? I just wanted to have a sense.
Yeah.
And when I travel, I always like to do that. Partly because that's part of the fun for me is to immerse myself. I want to feel like what does it feel like to live here as close as you can. In 6 days, you can't really do that. Um, but that's the part of the experience that I want is something more immersive. I don't want to scream American, although I learned that even the way we walk and kick our feet out just screams that we're American. We flop around, we're kind of looking. There is something that says American, and people
Sure.
can spot it really fast. So
Sure.
I knew to let that go. But started maybe 2 months before the trip. And as you know, I've gotten into thrifting and
Yes.
like looking for secondhand things. I've always done it for the kids. And I don't think I just didn't have the patience for myself, but I'm realizing, oh, it's so fun and it feels better to do. So I'm having fun with
Yes.
that. So what I did was a couple things. I watched YouTube videos on what people are wearing there now in spring of the season that I was going, which was spring. Like what colors. When I went 20 years ago, to be wearing any kind of active wear on your feet was like the biggest faux pas. So no sneakers, nothing like that. This time, everybody had on sneakers, like cute little, not like running shoes necessarily, but more like a really simple sneaker, like mostly white with maybe a stripe on it, or like the
Hmm.
Adidas, indoor soccer
Yeah,
style.
the old school. Hmm.
People would be from the ankles up, like looking fly. And then they have these comfortable, they were very chic shoes. So I got a pair of those. I found them at the Goodwill. I
Yes.
found mine at Goodwill, amazingly. It was like I manifested those. And then I put some Dr. Souls inserts into them for
Love
walking
that.
because I
Yes.
knew I'd be walking a lot.
Right.
And I brought a capsule wardrobe. So I brought 9 pieces that I could mix and match. And girl, I got with my boyfriend, my little AI robot that I call my boyfriend. And I said, I'm going at this time. This is my body shape. These are the pieces that I have. Build me a 9 piece capsule wardrobe. And he did.
Wait, did you tell him what you had or upload photos? How did you do
I
it?
uploaded photos of the actual clothes that I have. And I said, these are the core pieces.
Oh my
Make
God.
me outfits out of this
You made him
and
your
make a
personal designer. That's
make
amazing.
me some, like, is there anything missing? And so like, yeah, get a brown belt for this and do this. And I get a handkerchief, and had already gotten the kerchief for it. And so like it was so perfect. And then I just cut that out and brought it with me to remind me of the different outfits. It was so wonderful. And then I was,
I love that.
re-wearing things.
Hmm.
And there's a tip of like, in the colder season, you can wear more clothes on the plane. I did that.
Oh,
So,
yes,
so you
right.
don't,
Layer up so you don't have to pack it. Yes.
yeah, we were trying to travel light. For
Yeah.
4 people, we only wanted 3 suitcases.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get everything to fit and leave room for, stuff we found there to bring
Heck
it
yeah.
back. And it worked out really well. I did overthink it, but fashion is not my forte. I used to love clothes. I used to love fashion. And like the last 10 years or so, I've been in my mommy uniform, like in my
Sure.
leggings and just like a t-shirt and my same old sweatshirt. But lately, and this is
Mm,
something you and I talked about in a recent episode, I've been like getting more interested in like, who is this 53-year-old
yes.
goddess and what does she want to wear? How do I want to adorn myself? And
Yes.
so being in Paris gave me inspiration and practice in doing it because everyday people were looking amazing. And it wasn't like they were wearing all Gucci or Prada.
Right.
They just had good pieces and they know how to put them together. I still
Yes.
haven't learned the tie of the scarf around the neck because even that they make look effortless. I think
Yeah.
there's something that people learn younger than we
Yes.
Americans learn in terms
Yes.
of fashion and style. I think we try too hard in the
We do.
States.
We do.
This felt more effortless, and
That,
I want to
right.
borrow more of that effortless
Yeah.
Parisian woman look.
I mean, it's always kind of ironic that it's effortless because come on now, we know those Parisians put some effort into it, but it looks effortless, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with their makeup. I'm really a fan of their sort of natural, dewy skin. Even the procedures they do, it's not as invasive, but they just have this like natural glow about them. Where you see a lot of the American makeup trends. It's these extended eyelashes. It's more severe. So
The hollowed out cheeks.
yes, exactly. There's something very kind of graceful about the way that they do things. I mean, it's. I would not say it's effortless, but it's effort less than us.
Yeah, maybe effort light or something. I
Effort
think the
light.
other thing that I was so aware of and so appreciating and also really embracing about myself,
Yeah.
even more so, is that how women of every age
Mm.
just, I didn't feel like in America, I think there's so many women who were like, we start to like shy away and like we hide a little bit more as we age. I didn't see that. Women of all ages were rocking all of their everything about themness.
I
And
love
I
that.
loved that every age was looking fabulous and fly. I saw little old ladies in the their little cute little sneakers,
Yes.
with her little walking stick and pulling her little cart with her groceries in it. And she was going nice and slow and she was kind of bent over. Girlfriend was looking fly and just out living her life. And I just thought, yes, this that is more of what I am calling in.
Yes.
I want to age that way. I want to live that way. I want to embrace that. Yes.
I love that. That is reminding me of an international trip I took in my 20s that where I saw something similar, very different part of the world. I went to the Dominican Republic where my friend was living and working there and I got to go to the capital, Santo Domingo, and kind of absorb myself in that culture, which was very different to me. Caribbean, Afro Caribbean, it was beautiful. I saw a similar thing, Flesché. When we went out dancing, guess who danced the best? The elders. The couples, they were sensual, they were out there. They were wearing, I kid you not, tight, skin tight, hot red dresses and just rocking it. There was this comfort and this like way of celebrating the body that I found from the women to be so refreshing and liberating. Any body type, any age, if you're rocking it, rock it. And I just remember coming back here and to your point, feeling like we have this weird, like, modesty slut dichotomy here, right? It's like when you're
Yeah.
young, you let it all hang out. And when you're old, you cover it all up. And it's really beautiful to go to other places and see older women looking elegant, looking sexy, and just like rocking it. So that is lighting me up and makes me want to do more
Yes.
of that.
Yeah. And it won't change until we change it. So we need to bring it. We need to, whatever it is about that, we
Yes.
need to now embody it, whatever that looks like for us. And I think it's individual for every person.
Yes.
And I think that's the other thing I saw when I was there is that every body type was celebrating its body type,
I love that.
their body type. And so
Yes.
I think that was that too. Like we're in America, it's so like if you're not thick skin, you're thin, you're not pretty, you're not beautiful, you don't look healthy. And I don't buy into any of that.
No, no. And it's got to be comfortable. I think by this age too, we are not trying to struggle to stuff ourselves into things that feel restrictive. I want to feel easy. I want to feel open. I want what I'm wearing to make me feel elevated and like more of myself, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I want it to be every day. And I want it to
yes.
be every day for you too. Like it shouldn't be a special occasion that we feel pretty or that we feel put together.
Yeah.
Like that I want to normalize it. So I'm really embracing that for myself
Yeah.
and trying to put more effort. And I've really tucked away my mom uniform into the back. And because
Interesting.
I don't want it to be like the quick thing that I grab every day. I'm
Right.
trying to push myself a little harder.
And we know that uniform is real, and we know when your kids are a certain age, like we get gold medals for just getting out of the house in clothes, period. Let's be real. And I also will have my days, and I love my days where I'm like, this is my I don't give a shit day, and that's cool. Like we got to, but yes, in general, I do think there's something particular about this age too, where we are coming into a little more time and a little more freedom to start expressing ourselves again, similarly to how we were exploring that in our teens and early 20s. But now we get to do it in this grown up way. Another thing
Mm.
you said about the fashion from Paris that I learned through my mother, who is kind of a fashion icon in her own right. My mama does fashion right. Was she
Yes, she
always
does.
pointed out that the French women pick a few items, they pay a lot and invest in those items, and then they repeat those items. So
Yeah.
they might get a gorgeous jacket and then just wear it with jeans, wear it with dresses. There's not this weird, she wore it twice kind of shaming thing here. And when we really think about what that messaging is telling us of never wear something twice, are you kidding me? You mean I have to buy a new jacket for every occasion? That's ridiculous. So, this consumerism is very much involved in our fast fashion culture versus like we could take a cue from some of these, older societies that are like, invest in a few great pieces and rock those.
You are bringing up that is such a good point. The other thing I noticed when I was there were loads of shoe repair shops, tailors.
Yes.
It is so hard to
Yes.
find someone now to fix a pair of boots for under $100 because there are hardly any shops.
Exactly. It's really
But they are
expensive.
resoling their
Yeah.
shoes, they're re-oiling their shoes, they're getting their jackets tailored, maybe even refashioned a little bit. They take care of their things. It's not as disposable a society like we have in America.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true. So these are all tied to like some great lessons. Girl, I love this. Okay, I got one more question for you, honey. Thank you for just like inspiring me and the listeners and other girlfriends to be like, ooh, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go next? Our fun question that we love to ask our guests at the end of each episode: what are you no longer giving a shit about that you used to give a shit about? What would you say Flesché in Paris was no longer giving a shit about that younger Flesché would have cared about?
Oh, well, I mean, it's the fashion. You know, I think I cared so much my first time. Like I was super self-conscious. I was constantly comparing myself.
Mm,
Not to say there wasn't any of that this time. There was some, but I noticed it was so much less. I just decided I felt good and that was good enough. And I was going to go out and have my day and have my layers. And I was going to rewear the same things. I only brought two pair of pants. I just kept rewearing them and
yeah,
in different ways. And so I think I enjoyed myself more because I was able to relax and let go. And I wasn't having as much of that comparison. And my husband also looked pretty good on the trip, and my kids,
hey,
because I only brought those clothes for them. They couldn't even fall back into their bad habits because they only had nice things to wear.
right,
And so I just felt like my family was comfortable and looked good. And we did the city the way I had hoped and intended, which is very aligned with how my husband likes to travel too. So it wasn't like it was my way or the highway. We both like to go and just be immersed and immersive in a place. And
mm-hmm.
I just rocked it. Like we just enjoyed ourselves. We took good care of ourselves. We were with the group. We weren't with the group. We slept in sometimes. We got up early sometimes. And I wasn't trying to see everything. You know, each day we only had one goal, one big thing we would try to do during the day. And then everything else was gravy. If it could fit in, great. But we weren't hustling all over the place, trying to cram it in like a bingo board and mark it
Right.
all off. And so it just was so relaxed. It was so enjoyable. It aligned with our values and we were able to actually be at a pace where it was fun. So I think that's what I didn't give a shit about. I'm not trying to see everything, do everything, and be uptight about how I looked.
Yeah, not trying
I
to be everything and be
Yeah,
everywhere. I love
yeah.
that
I
you
think it
were.
was my best vacation ever. I think honestly,
Okay, well that is inspiring because that means that, it can only get better. And I think often when we think about traveling, it's like, oh, as you get older, it's going to get harder and we're going to be, more achy and be less able. But with this mindset of not cramming everything in, feeling more comfortable in our skin, and being in a funny way more attuned to what's out there in the world than being so self absorbed that I think sometimes when we're young, we just can't quite help but be. Those are gifts. That is going to be amazing. And so I just love that you're now in this new era. And I'm like, ooh, where are we going next?
I love that. I think the other thing I learned, and I learned this from my dad, who's in his 70s, so he's at a different stage of life. He can travel off season easily, but we traveled off season. Like this was
Mm,
well after the kids' spring break. We took them out of school to go. And I'm realizing trying to go and cram it all in when everyone else is doing it,
mm.
I think is part of also the experience that I had last time.
Well, that's
I
going to
tend to
make it more like
travel when it's busy.
Disneyland. It's
Yes.
not going to feel like you're immersed. It's going to feel like you're looking at other tourists everywhere you go.
Exactly. And competing with them for tables and places in line. And so I think that was the other thing that I learned because my husband and I have been pretty uptight about the kids being in school.
Right.
But we realized no, actually is a way to do it. There are proper channels to go through, and that's an education for them as well.
Yep.
And boy, was it so much more relaxing. And things were still busy in the off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point, I also wonder if the Parisians would have been more grumpy with you in those high seasons because they're just managing so many people. So there was a way that you were able to treat and be treated in a different way, perhaps because it was the off season. So yay
That's
to off
actually a
season
really good
traveling.
point.
That's a great tip.
Very good point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you for like letting us, kind of get a little whiff of what you've been up to. It sounds so delightful and just so grown up and just like I felt like you are were really able to like fully be present in your trip. And I'm all about that, being present
Mm,
with our lives. And I just love that for
absolutely.
you and your whole family. So what a gift. And then you're sharing a
Thank
little
you.
a little gift from Paris for all of us. So merci.
Yeah, thank you so much. I also wanted just to call out that this is really a part two because you went to Brazil not too long ago. And so, part one of this conversation, we'll actually link it down below so that you can hear about how Jessica traveled at this beautiful stage of life.
Yeah.
And so, I think this feels like maybe even like a little series that we can be
Oh,
doing.
please, please, let's do an international travel series. Who would like to sponsor us? Where are we going next?
Exactly. Not like we have those kinds of trips all just like coming out of our ears. But I think there are a lot of things that you and I are engaging with at this stage of life that hit differently. And I think we
Absolutely.
want to be doing that with our girlfriends and
Yeah.
bringing them along with us. So I think that's more what I'm calling it. Even like a domestic weekend getaway can
Absolutely.
be done differently than when we were 20s, scrapping it together and
Yep.
unplanned and whatnot.
Yes,
So
yes. Oh,
yeah.
I love this. Okay, well, yes, we'll share that link. We'll share a couple of the beautiful fashion capsule looks that Flesché put together. So do make sure if you're watching this on YouTube to head on over to Substack for Girlfriends of a Certain Age so that you can see the photos and my trip to Brazil and all the fun things. And if you're listening on the podcast, also you're welcome if you want the visuals to come on over and watch us. But Flesché, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing about your beautiful trip. It's very, very inspiring, and it makes me want to book a ticket ASAP to somewhere.
Well, it's so fun to be able to talk about it right after coming back because it keeps those vacation vibes going. Like we're
Yes.
still eating a little bit differently, and so it's been really fun for me to revisit it. So thank you for the opportunity and letting me share about my experience.
I love it. I love it. Well, we hope that it can be an experience that many of our listeners can be sharing as well. And, where are you wanting to go? What is somewhere you're curious about? And how can you do it and rock it in a way now at our age that maybe you weren't able to before? So I think really look at this era of our lives as a beautiful opportunity to just like, be in a deeper relationship with yourself and with the world around you.
Mm, amen to that. Thank you
Mm.
so much. Thank you, girlfriends, for being here with us. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.